See you again.
Yeah, Bob and just disclaimer, are working together. But I wanted to have Bob come in because a lot of folks in the cannabis industry right now, one of the biggest problems they're having is financing. Because until the federal, we get off Schedule One, a lot of the big banks and big operations are really a little shy about doing this. Bob, however, can get it done. So why don't you talk a little bit about what you can offer to the cannabis industry?
Well, I was asked uh, over a year ago to help with the hemp farmers due to my financial and my agriculture background. And so that's how I ended up getting involved in this. And so I've done commercial financing for 40 years. And just about time we were up and going and started financing some of these CBD and medical M&M stores. Uh, COVID-19 come along, so everybody kind of ducked and tailed and stayed home and couldn't get into the computer for the firewall restrictions and stuff like that. So uh, I probably have 50 or 60 uh, applications that's like, let's just wait until some of this settles down. And some of these states that I had this on, they didn't have 2 years. They hadn't been in business 2 years. In Michigan, it's not a problem. People's been in business for longer than 2 years. It's a lot easier to get financed if you've been in business over 2 years. So that worked out. Mike and I are working on one that could create a lot of jobs. And just now, every week now, there's more lenders back in the market. That's it's like, okay, life goes on. They've got enough staff going again because some of that stuff they lost their line of credit, even though they're a lender. They people like Bank of America kind of put them on hold, and that put kind of created a tidal wave. But fact is, our CBD stores, they're making money, and lenders I've got lenders that's looking to advance money to these stores and these producers.
And of course, we have lots of different levels of cannabis. Not only provisioning centers, we have the growers, we have the processors. You can work with those folks too, right?
Yes, yes. Oh, matter of fact, looking at one deal where they're making hemp blocks, which is kind of pretty cool. The hemp blocks, they're a little bit labor intensive, but I think they improve that part. They're going to be a player in the market
Yeah,
on the hemp
hempcrete
blocks.
is one of the things that, as you know, we're on the iHemp Hour too, and that's one of the things they're talking about. Michigan being a big manufacturing center and a big ag center. I mean, our ag is like, well, it's autos, tourism, and ag. So I mean, they're talking about combining the two, manufacturing and hemp, to get into the various hemp products, as you can make 20,000 products out of hemp. So lots of possibilities there.
Right. And matter of fact, what Meredith mentioned about about the liquor, uh, in some states, and one state that I worked with a whole lot, uh, we ran a grape bill for grapes to help the wineries. And the guy just caught flack. The state representative that carried the bill, took a lot of heat because people thought he was an ag guy, and here he is a liquor guy. It's like, wait a minute, uh, ag, grapes is an ag product, liquor is an ag product. Uh, it's like it goes underneath ag business, and people don't realize how much wonderful things the ag creates, how much money it creates for the state, and how many jobs it creates.
You have any questions, Rick?
Sure, of course I do. Bob, you were here when I was doing the cannabis news, and you heard discussion about the Supreme Court declining to hear a case which would have removed cannabis from Schedule 1. From a financing perspective, we're constantly hearing about Schedule 1 as what holds banks back from being able to buy in completely to this industry. If Schedule 1 status for cannabis was removed, how much of an assistance would that be to financing cannabis businesses across the USA?
Well, I don't know if it's going to get removed because of the what DEA. The USDA wants it removed. So really, it's one of those things. Uh, and I'm a Republican. Uh, the Trump people wants it removed. I think the DEA is the one that's screwing up the deal. The on the deal, the USDA and the farm people they want it, and we can already do crop insurance on hemp. USDA already offers, and actually USDA offers financing now to farmers, including the crop health insurance.
Well,
Uh,
that'd be for the hemp industry, but
to come right
Bob,
back to directly, if it's removed, it would probably double the business of in 90 days, maybe 6 months. It would double. It's probably going to double that anyway. I think business is going to double in shortly. I think I think the industrial hemp side is going to become huge. Right now, it's still CBD, medical marijuana stuff, but I think the if you look at the upside, and I think just this past week, uh, Senator, the guy from Kentucky, Mitch McConnell, wanted face masks made out of hemp, and I think that's going to be a huge deal.
Yeah, you can actually get that. The iHemp Industrial Hemp Association of Michigan can get those on a limited basis from some suppliers, but I think it's out of California. So I mean, they're just few and far between right now. But certainly, they're real. And getting back to your point on the DEA, they also talk about that's the biggest issue is the Drug Enforcement Administration wants to keep their thumb on all this because they're really not comfortable with hemp, but they don't have a choice because it's legalized around the country. But they're
right.
the ones that are really trying to keep it Schedule One cannabis for their own reasons, whatever they are. So,
Right, but the point was though, if Schedule One was removed, I mean that
right.
cork would be off the bottle, and we would have champagne flowing everywhere, wouldn't you think?
Well, I think I don't know about that. I think these states they kind of shoot themselves in the foot. Maybe some of them shoot themselves in the head uh, on these things. That it should just flow. I should create a huge amount of good things happen, but some of these states are not very business friendly. They haven't been very farmer family on things either. So I think it could if some of these state governments would start becoming a little more business friendly on the thing. I think it's going to happen anyway. I think there's going to be exceptions and I think it will happen whether it completely removes it or not. It's going to go around it because McConnell wants it, and so I think it's going to happen on that deal. Whether DEA tries to keep it in there or not, I think they're going to put exemption in there that if it's for a cannabis operation, then it's exempt, and that's I think it's going to happen.
I know we're talking about your ability to finance, Bob. What are you seeing as far as an interest in hemp and financing processing equipment itself? It's relatively inexpensive for people to get into the hemp cultivation business, but the real sticking point is not having decorticators or threshing machines available for people to be able to use industrial hemp and actually enter it into the marketplace.
Right. Actually, there's a couple of deals. The harvesting equipment's not bad. I can get that financed because that's usually a farmer, uh, a true farm operation. The problem and the degummer is not bad because that's usually on more of a. There's just some processing equipment that apparently is more specialized or it's not as common, and they don't have a secondary market. If you're financing or if you want a processing equipment for hemp where it breaks it down, the fiber, that's really the one bottleneck is that processing equipment on the deal. You can harvest it, you can get it financed, the harvesting equipment financed. That's the that's kind of the easy part of it. It's that processing deal. And then from there, you kind of go into specialty areas like the hemp blocks and stuff like that. The hemp blocks, that's not a problem because you've got other income. You've got a buyer for the product, the end product. And I do a lot of factoring, a lot of purchase order financing. And so we can actually document it enough with the purchase orders and to justify it, the underwriters.
I guess I still don't quite understand but the processing equipment, the reason there's difficulty in that is what again now? I guess I don't quite understand.
Well, I don't think there's too many people that know what to do with it, and there's not a secondary. They don't know the market on it. There's not a established market. What do you do with the processing? Uh, the harvesting equipment. There's people out there that want it, need it. The processing equipment, people that they just know they need it, they don't know what they're doing. Is what happens. Is they know they need it, they don't know exactly what to do with it.
I've made purchases like that before. Okay.
Well, I know that the auto industry is taking a serious look at using hemp products in automobiles, mostly in interior components. But Porsche, for instance, has a hemp vehicle where some of the exterior components, instead of a carbon fiber, are hemp fiber. And so, one of the things that the iHemp Association has been talking about is trying to get a big deal going with the auto industry, Ford, FCA, and GM,
Right.
other folks here in Michigan, because they're already interested in doing that, and that lightweights the car, and that's the big thing. To make the CAFE standards, you need to have lighter cars, more efficient engines, things like that, to be able to get 50 miles to the gallon.
It really only takes one deal from General Motors or Ford to say we want it, and then you'll see all kinds of stuff happen. Actually I'm working on an ag processing public-private partnership program to take low income farmland, and some of it's got overgrown with trees because I've worked on red cedars, trying to remove red cedars for years. I'm on the Oklahoma Renewable Energy Council, and with a lot of green people on there. But we have these red cedars, which are a nuisance tree, and we're trying to figure out how to get rid of them. Well, if you go in there and harvest those out and go back with grass, it takes forever to pay for it. But we go back with a hemp program, all of a sudden the curve is much lower. The recovery rates reduced tremendously. So that's going to be, again, we just need one deal from General Motors or Ford that says they want hemp produced, and I think we'll see a huge amount of volume.
I was on Rick's show 2 weeks ago, and he had a planner from the city of Detroit. The city of Detroit's very interested. They have a tremendous amount of vacant land, but they would like to put a hemp in partly for the remediation, because after a couple of years, it sucks all the bad stuff out of the soil, and then you can use it for other purposes. But also, it would be used not so much for human consumption, but it could be used in construction or interior car parts or things like that.
And a lot of it, and hopefully President Trump will cut off more stuff from coming in from China, because what they make, instead of using rebar for concrete, we can make hemp fibers and use it in concrete, and that would be a huge market. But at the moment, the people that use that, the hemp and concrete, they're bringing it in from China. So it would just, again, the processing, it's kind of the bottleneck is, okay, we break that down in fiber, and then there becomes, where do you take it from there?
Sure. Yeah, one of the big bugaboos right now is the industry is in Michigan has spent so much money getting to this point. A lot of them are really cash poor right now. I mean, it's they've got such a big upfront investment, they haven't been able to recoup that yet. So maybe they could look at invoice financing or something with you, and that would help them get through their cash crunch.
Is we have to go to a invoice term system where you issue purchase orders, you you send out invoices, and you give 30 days or 60-day terms. All of a sudden, those stores that are paying cash and have a small inventory, if they could buy product and have 60 days, then all of a sudden their inventory could triple, and then their sales could triple. So all of a sudden, that's how you make it grow. So really, it's got to become a mature business plan.